Okay, let me see this. What do you mean? It's now. Okay, let me see this. What do you mean? It's now. Okay, let me see this. What do you mean? It's now. Okay, that's enough. That's enough. That's enough. That's enough. Progressive anti-junta Move Forward Party places first in Thailand's election. Historic upset, Move Forward is backed by millions of Thai, Gen Z, and millennials, a rare example where youth movement actually won. So this is great, and this shows that like movements like this can start essentially from just a grassroots movement can start like this and actually end up having huge strides when it comes to um, voting and like election results, and this is a very good example of that. So congratulations to him. Move forward, let's look at this. Move forward Thailand. Pita Limjaroenrat. Sorry, I know I butchered that last name. But essentially, today's a new day and hopefully it is full of bright sunshine and hope. 42-year-old Pita Limjaroenrat told a room packed with reporters and flashing cameras hours after it had become clear that he could well be Thailand's next prime minister. Nice. Mr. Pita's party, Move Forward, which in Thai evokes leaps of change, has swept to a surprising and stunning victory. Voters rejected nearly a decade of army-backed rule, handing more seats and votes to Move Forward than any other party. So essentially, he didn't really win with a majority, but he still won enough for him to get elected and be for his party to be able to do some actual like change. So that's good. Now let's see what YouTube said. Let's see how it looks on YouTube. A decade of army-backed rule handing a rare example where youth movement actually won. So this is great, and this shows that like movements like this can start essentially from just a grassroots movement can start like this and actually end up having huge strides when it comes to voting and like election results, and this is a very good example of that. So congratulations to him. Move forward, let's look at this. Move Forward Thailand. Pita Limjaroenrat. Sorry, I know I butchered that last name. But essentially, today's a new day and hopefully it is full of bright sunshine and hope. 42-year-old Pita Limjaroenrat told a room packed with reporters and flashing cameras hours after it had become clear. And this is a Move Forward Thailand. Pita Limjaroenrat. Sorry, I know I butchered that last name. But essentially, today's a new day and hopefully it is full of bright sunshine and hope. 42-year-old Pita Limjaroenrat told a room packed with reporters and flashing cameras hours. That's good. This is good stuff. I can see the chat, by the way, so if you comment something, I'm gonna see it. Sorry, y'all. This is not really related to Filipino politics, but you know, I do pay attention to sorry, I do pay attention to hip hop, like general culture. So, one fan that I'm one person in the hip hop media space that I'm a big fan of is DJ Academics, and this guy is someone who he doesn't really see eye to eye with. So, I'm just gonna watch the video.
Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for another episode of Let's Argue, where I hop on here and take your hot takes, your unpopular opinions, your tough questions. I respond to the best ones. That's what I do, bro. Yeah, that's my thing. Yeah, that's what I live to do. DJ Academics is the worst thing in music right now. What kind of stinks about Act's content is that at one point it kind of was about the music in at least some sense, but that's just not really the case anymore. And again, I sort of understand because the algorithm has very much incentivized him to make his content entirely about drama, entirely about controversy, which, I mean, if you want to do that, go ahead and do that. That's fine. If you want to focus on all the stuff, all the crap that is just orbiting the music, go for it. But if you're going to do that, you can do that and be truthful about it and be honest about it. You don't need to be extremely biased and take sides with little to no evidence for your claims and drag the names of people like Megan through the mud just for clicks and just for views and just to bait your misogynist audience. Because, just to remind you guys, Tory was guilty. Everybody who was on the Meg lied, Tory is not guilty train was an idiot, and everybody who lied to sort of create that narrative is an asshole and a piece of garbage. Real emo only consists of the DC emotional hardcore scene in the late 90s
so high up.
screamo scene. What is known by Midwest emo is nothing
Yeah,
but
this is not good.
Ooh, yummy copy pasta. Acts who use demos as bait to flog a deluxe version for subsequent reissues can get hooked. Nobody wants to hear half-baked versions of your songs which were mumbled into a phone and sound like they were recorded down a well. What albums are you even referring to? I mean, I'm sure there are examples, but like, here's the thing. Sometimes hearing demo versions of tracks on an album that you enjoy can be cool and can be interesting and can kind of give you a new view and perspective on those songs and the process it took to create them. I will say this though, what also bugs me with deluxe versions is, yeah, you don't get demos, but you get like extra tracks. You get tracks that basically weren't good enough to make it onto the album, so you just kind of get reminded of why they weren't able to be on the LP because they so obviously suck, weren't really finished, clearly weren't worthy of being on the LP with the rest of the gang. People who hate Sade and think she's boring have never felt the touch of a woman in their life. If you hate Sade, it's probably because you're not a very sensual person. Maybe you don't enjoy physical relations and romance and love all that much. You don't really do all that foreplay nonsense. You just like to, hit it with.
Let's test. Flashing cameras, hours. So, related to Filipino. Sorry, y'all. This is not really related to Filipino politics, but I do pay attention to. I do pay attention to hip hop, like general culture. So, one fan that I'm one person in the hip hop media space that I'm a big fan of is DJ Academics, and this guy is someone who he doesn't really see eye to eye with. So, I'm just gonna watch the video. And I'm one person in the hip hop media space that I'm a big fan of is DJ Academics, and this guy is someone who he doesn't really see eye to eye with, so I'm just gonna watch my video. Oh, I also watch a lot of poker, so that might be something that y'all are interested in. So if you are, feel free to message me. I've actually been thinking of making a YouTube channel just for poker, because you know there's a whole space for it too, but it's not really here. Also, old school RuneScape. I guess this could be like, you know, this can be like a video showing what kind of stuff I'm interested in, what you guys could be interested in. Undisputed. So this is a show where two people pretend to have disagreements, but they actually are on the same page most of the time. Although Skip Bayless is a renowned LeBron James hater, and obviously Shannon is very close to LeBron, and he's been a LeBron stan since forever. Breaking Points. This is by far one of my most favorite, like, go-to resources for politics. So I'm just gonna put that out there. Anyway, I cannot show you that. Come on, comments. Let me see some comments. No comments. Yeah. Once I get a following, I'm good. What about the movie Ghosted? I hate this. I can't hear the audio.
Yes,
There
I
we
shot
go.
him in the butt.
Yes, and now you.
Threw up on his face. And in this one, I'm trying to. I save him. I'm nice to him.
You save him.
I save
You
him.
save his life.
Even better.
Yeah. The idea,
Yeah.
I love it. It's beautiful looking people meet and they go, oh, let's go on maybe a date. So they go on a date and then you ghost him.
Well, I'm working.
Yeah, but he doesn't know that. He doesn't know. And so he goes, wait. So he got ghosted by. He's like, but
Yeah.
then he realizes that he forgot that you have his.
I got his inhaler, which has one of those.
He put an
tabs.
Apple tag on
Yeah,
it, so he can
so-
track you. And he's like, wait, I'm gonna find out. Maybe it'll be romantic.
Yeah.
She's in London. I'll go surprise her. I'm like, hi,
Don't
remember?
do that, people. Don't show up.
It's called stalking. Don't do that. Yeah.
Don't do that.
Don't do that, yeah, but he's embarrassed. He's like, all right, so me. Then he finds out you're a secret agent.
Yeah.
You're a spy.
Yeah.
And you are a kick-ass spy.
Yes.
You've shot him.
Yes, I
Great.
shot him in the butt.
Yes, and now you.
Threw up on his face. And in this one, I'm.
Okay, you know what? I actually do want to watch the
kiss him.
movie, so
nice
I'm
to
gonna
him.
stop. Although I think I've watched all of that already, but whatever. Oh, this is talking about Charleston White. Who's the Filipino equivalent of Charleston White? Let me see. I can't really think of anyone. You know, that's the thing. In Filipino culture, there isn't a lot of trolls. Now, maybe Tony Fowler. So, you know, let's go ahead and play your video. Tony Fowler song. Oh, this is it. I think this is it. Y'all are gonna let If I had viewers, then by now for sure I have no viewers.
Sa akin. Ngayon ang init ko na. Ngayon ang init ko na.
Oh wait, no, I can't view this.
Ngayon ang
YouTube is
init
gonna
ko
kick me.
na.
I can't. I just remembered. I can't play that or else I'm gonna get copyright infringement. So I'm sorry, y'all. Let's go to Facebook. Let's go to my Facebook specifically. But for now, I'm just gonna turn off notifications. Why is my active status off? Oh, I had it turned off. I don't know why it was on. Message sounds, pop up new messages. Okay, that's all good. So this is my actual Facebook, guys. So if you see something different, you know, it's weird. Craig Miller, okay. I can't actually talk about that. I don't think my mom cooks that much tinola, so I'm taking $1 million. But to be honest, I'm gonna be taking $1 million over most other things. So, sorry, Mom. Ben Simmons is so petty for this, bro. He's so petty for this, for real. But like, you know, how Joel Embiid collapsed in the playoffs is unbelievable. Like, he was breaking a whole lot of shit that was, you know, that could easily have been made. I don't understand, like, and first of all, first of all, Sixers should have won Game 6 because Tatum was breaking a whole lot of shit, and the Celtics still won. So, I think, you know, there's also a lot of people who has been calling for Doc Rivers to get fired, so that's understandable. But, you know, I do think this is much more on the players than it is the coach, and the outrage on like subreddits at least, and at least the Sixers subreddit, because yes, I do follow those subreddits. Yeah, the outrage has been more on the players, although, you know, it's like 20% coach, 80% player, so that's the distribution of the blame. Understandable. What's nope, nothing. How to calm an angry moment. Bro, just calm down. I'm gonna head to the gym. Hopefully you fixed your attitude by the time. That's crazy. Of course, that's good relationship advice. Just ignore what they have to say. Let me charge my phone, guys. Hold on a second. How long has this been? How long has this stream been already? This is an embarrassing first stream. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Still streaming live. 3 views. That's pretty much all me. Let's see our reach. Live viewers. Live chat, nothing. Top chat, also nothing. I've been streaming for 18 minutes already, so that's not bad. Also, I got my webcam set up already, so this I'm gonna rename this. Check out this streaming thing. This is what my OBS looks like. So I am gonna rename this to webcam for streaming. What I usually do is I don't edit anything on the recording canvas. I just edit everything once it's on Sony Vegas, and then from Sony Vegas, that's where I edit the clip and then, you know, put in everything that I need to put in. So yeah. So yeah, this is what it looks like, webcam for streaming. So if I turn this off, then obviously it'll just be the screen that you're looking at right now with the mirror, infinite mirror. Alright, feel free to talk to me about anything. I'm gonna be live for a few more minutes, just to like test things around. Still nothing? Holy. Okay, what can we watch on YouTube? I can't believe I'm talking to myself, bro. This is pathetic. I'm talking to myself.
There's some other big news with regard to Twitter, which is that you will recall some time ago, many months ago, Elon did his little Twitter poll and said, should I step down as CEO? And the yes, you should step down position won, but we hadn't gotten much movement there in terms of him moving aside. Well, we do now have a CEO who has officially been chosen. Her name is Linda Yaccarino. She's a high-level executive at NBC Universal, in charge of basically bringing in all of their advertising dollars. So she's very well versed in the world of advertising, in the world of corporate sponsors. That's where all her relationships lie, not so much on the tech side. And she's kind of coming in for criticism from all corners, in terms of how she's likely to run Twitter, in terms of what her politics are. One of the things that really caught our eye is she actually interviewed Elon not that long ago. And she was pushing him on behalf of advertisers, corporations, to reinstate this influence council, so that, corporate marketing heads could be in constant communication with Twitter and try to push them and shape their decisions on things like content moderation. Elon here takes the principled, I don't think that'd be a great idea stance, but just listen to how she positions and frames her views. Take a listen to some of this.
For example, you've said you probably shouldn't tweet after 3 a.m.
Well, I've got
probably good advice for all of us.
I've gotten myself into trouble a few times.
I'm very aware of those. So after 3 a.m., you travel all over the world. Lord knows how you handle time zones in space. Will you commit to be a little more specific and not tweet after 3 a.m.? People in this room would like to see that.
Bro, I need a haircut.
I will aspire to tweet less after 3 a.m. But I mean, it is important that, if I were to say, yes, you can influence me, that would be wrong. That would be very wrong. Because that would be a diminishment of freedom of speech.
But I want to be specific about influencing. It's more of an open feedback loop for the advertising experts in this room to help develop Twitter into a place where they will be excited about investing more money.
It's totally cool to say that you want to have your advertising appear in certain places in Twitter and not in other places. But it is not cool to try to say what Twitter will do. And if that means losing advertising dollars, we lose it. But freedom of speech is paramount.
Twitter 1.0 had a very well-populated, much-loved influence council. I think we need to change the name. Elon does not want to be influenced.
So the Influence Council may not be coming back, but instead he just decided to get one of the advertising executives to run the whole joint.
I think it's just very clear what happened here. He bought it for $44 billion. He paid probably $15-20 billion more than it was actually worth after the downturn. Now he's stuck with it, couldn't get out of it after suing. And it had his fun. Tried Twitter Blue. It was a disaster by all accounts. He's not bringing in more than a couple $1 million per month, which is not going to cover the $5 billion in revenue that they were already making per year on advertising. And don't forget, the $5 billion revenue that they were making actually was not enough to turn a profit. They were still running at a loss. So they probably need to make $6 billion. Well, I guess since he fired 90% of the staff or whatever, let's say it was less than that, because staff, at the end of the day, still was not some of the more significant operations that they were spending. So who do you turn to? You turn to the only other revenue that you can tap. You tried direct subscription. It didn't work out. You got to go back to the advertisers. If you're going to the advertisers, you got to get a Madison Avenue beloved figure. Let's go ahead and put this up there on the screen. That's exactly what the Wall Street Journal and the business press are describing her as. Quote, meet Linda Yaccarino, Elon Musk's new Twitter CEO and the ad world's Velvet Hammer. Billionaire bets the NBC Universal executive with Madison Avenue ties will bring advertisers back to Twitter. And what do we learn from Linda Yaccarino? This is a long-time New York City kind of aligned Madison Avenue executive with deep ties to the media industry. They say she's regarded as a sales machine, the Velvet Hammer, because of her hard-nosed negotiation tactics come wrapped in a friendly package. Ideologically, they say that she is aligned with Musk. I don't really know what that means for somebody who literally worked at NBC.
aligned?
But according to them, her track record, she had a 2,000 plus advertising sales team, and they have generated more than $100 billion in ad sales over the last 12 years, which is crazy for NBC Universal. Before that, she worked at Turner Broadcasting, Warner Brothers Discovery. She steered the company through decline in television. So this is as like swampy as it gets, I think, whenever it comes to the ad business. Not saying that necessarily in a bad term, because that's kind of what you need.
Yeah.
If that's the way that you want to go. Now, is this the free speech executive? No.
No.
Not even a question.
I mean, that's why it fits with the previous segment of like, is this a smart choice? If you're just looking at the bottom line, I think it's a smart choice.
Yeah, it's a great choice.
Because they desperately need to bring advertisers back. She has deep relationships within the industry. She can call them up. She can schmooze them. Things are going to be different. I've got your back. They tell a story actually in this Wall Street Journal article just to give you a sense of how she would operate over at NBC Universal. There was some big placed, expensive ad for, I think it was
Okay, before I continue watching, my thoughts on this is just before I watch the whole clip is, so obviously he's not necessarily, rephrase, the new CEO isn't necessarily for free speech per se, but as I always say, two things can be true at the same time, and she can be a good CEO for advertising and also maintain the general idea of keeping free speech paramount. So where would the conflict be in terms of the conflict in advertising and free speech? Because obviously some things are going to be more promoted than others, and because advertising, so obviously some things are going to be more, like I said, more promoted than others. So I guess the less advertised one takes a back seat. But advertising isn't when people talk about free speech, it's not talking about free speech, it's not necessarily if you're gonna put free speech and advertising on a Venn diagram, where is the conflict? I don't see it, because I think most of the problems that people had in terms of free speech on Twitter was, all these conservative voices who were silenced by Twitter. At least that was the problem as stated beforehand. Now I'm not one here to say whether I agree with that or not. Now obviously a lot of conservatives do, because especially I believe Libs of TikTok, who was suspended several times. So that's an example of them, of Twitter, suspending conservative voices supposedly for the fact that they're being conservative. I'm not sure that's true or not, but that was one example. I'm not saying it's true either. I'm just saying that's the example that they have. But anyway,
General Motors that ran during the Today Show, but it ran next to an advertisement that painted some negative picture of lithium, and they thought it was bad to have those two things together. So she immediately calls up GM and says, I'm going to make it right. We're going to run it again on the Today Show. So she's heightened sensitivity towards how these corporate executives and corporate advertisers are going to think about where their ads are and what it's put up next to. That's going to be her priority. She's going to tell them, I have your back. And as we've said from the beginning, there's a reason why all of these platforms are run in a very similar way when it comes to content moderation.
Yes.
And it is not because of the government, actually. I mean, that's a piece of it. It's really overwhelmingly shaped by what are advertisers, what is corporate America going to be comfortable with. She's the
there. That's what
So,
they're
again,
talking
is it
about.
an
So it's because of what corporations think is corporate friendly. So I guess they're saying in that case, conservatives aren't very corporate friendly, or conservative talking points aren't very corporate friendly.
intelligent business decision to try to lure advertisers back? Yes, I absolutely think so. It's not like Twitter is like a complicated tech play. They've got their platform. They know generally what they're doing. They don't need a tech expert. They need someone who's going to be competent and has these relationships in the ad world. Is that remotely what Elon promised when he purchased this platform? Of course not. Not remotely. And, you know, there's been a lot of reading the tea leaves of what her politics are. And ultimately, with someone like this, who's just, you know, at heart, like a hard-charging capitalist executive, I don't know that the underlying what she thinks about Stop the Steal or whatever actually matters, because the bottom line is going to be the bottom line with this person. But there was a lot of upset, to put this up on the screen, among a lot of Elon Musk fans, that she's very involved with the World Economic Forum. She chairs a committee there and has been involved for a number of years. And then on the other side, there was also upset from a lot of liberals and people on the left at some of the people that she follows and whose tweets she likes. I guess this is the part where maybe her politics theoretically are in line with Elon's, which is, you know, she follows people like Lynn Wood and Sidney Powell and a lot of other right-wing figures as well. But again, I sort of think those pieces are a distraction from her core function, which is to make Twitter a place, once again, that is going to be comfy for advertisers and basically just bring it back to the old regime.
People like this, their personal politics don't literally matter at all. Like, what they're in many
That's
ways,
correct.
they are the ultimate chameleons. Like, whenever you're
Agreed.
selling
Completely
you
agreed.
don't sell $100 billion worth of ads without being at all things to all people. You can be conservative when you need to. You can be the biggest lib whenever you need to. That's probably, honestly, that's...
Although, okay, he's correct. Sagar is correct there. But I'm going to say that, you know, they need to be equally accommodating to, like, all the groups that are going to be more popular in the discourse on Twitter. So in this case, like I said, they need to be more accommodating to conservatives, or like the general right-wing space.
He was probably able to...
Also, there's something I want to get to afterwards. I'm going to try to look it up.
I mean, the other thing is, for somebody like this, I don't know why you would leave a multi-billion-dollar corporation to work for one of the most capricious people on the planet, who famously is hard-charging with a tremendous level of risk. I mean, I guess if you do turn it around, you look like a genius, but almost nobody else has been able to last. I mean, so many other people who have worked for Elon. For example, there's a reason you don't really know the names of the junior executives at SpaceX or at Tesla. Elon is always the star at his companies. He'll work people into the ground. He takes, I'm not going to say he takes credit, because he is intimately involved and works just as hard as all of them, but it is clear in all these companies, it's all about Elon.
Yeah. On the other hand, I never heard her name before, and now I have.
Yeah, fair.
You know, she's the subject of a lot of news articles and a lot of speculation and a lot of interest. And so, according to the Wall Street Journal report, she was really miffed that she hadn't been promoted higher within NBC Universal. There was a position that came open that she wasn't even considered for, and she was upset with that. She made no secret of the fact that she wanted to be in a CEO position. So I guess she feels like this is her shot, and has a lot of confidence in her ability to be able to turn things around, a lot of confidence in the relationships that she has in the ad world to try to bring those advertisers back to the platform. And so she's going to take her shot.
She will take her shot. We will see how it all works out.
Hey guys, ready or not, 2020.
Okay, that's enough. Let's look for this thing that I want to look up. Oh yeah, let me go ahead and put in the streaming link. Shareable link, copy to clipboard. Not that anyone cares, but oh no, hold on. Yeah, that's fine, that's fine. Red tagging. Oh yeah, you know, I've been listening to a lot of these Twitter spaces on Twitter. Now there's both a DDS space. There's a DDS camp Twitter space, and then there's also a camping Twitter space, and also I've listened to one with CPP, NPA, general left-wing union groups Twitter space. So I've listened to that too, which is pretty interesting. I don't shy away from any talking points. I like to listen to all of them. I don't mind. But anyway, there's something that I do want to get to. I think it was Nina Bellatrix, yeah. So this is just one of people I regularly look at on Twitter. But I'm trying to find a TikTok post, but I don't think I'm gonna find it here, because all she's been talking about all day is red tagging and all that shit. Hold on a second. Was this? Oh no, this was from 2 days ago. Wait, hold on. Let's just keep going down. Oh man, let's see. Philam. Sorry guys if you see something with like Pornhub related. That's my fault. Philam. Nope, that's not it. Oh jeez. I should have remembered to post it earlier. Fucking hell. Hold on, maybe I did post it earlier. I'm trying to find it. Oh, I did. I found it. Yes, I found it. Her. Oh, I want to talk about this so bad, bro.
Who do you think is, and whose fault is that? Who do you think is to blame here? Who do you think is the reason why the Filipino American community is so whitewashed that most of them can barely say more than salamat and mabuhay? Whose fault
Salamat,
is that?
mabuhay.
Y'all have gotten it in your
Salamat,
head, this weird
mabuhay.
idea that Filipino Americans consciously made the decision to reject Filipino culture, when in reality, we were just never taught, or we just weren't taught well enough. And let's not ignore the fact that the reason why some of us weren't taught was to protect us from racism and discrimination. And whose job
Pause. Okay, pause. Hold on.
was it to teach?
Pause. Hold on. What is he saying there? They didn't teach us Tagalog to protect us from racism and discrimination. I don't get that. So, if you were taught Tagalog in your house, that means that you're gonna be discriminated against? The fuck? I mean, okay, I have a very unique perspective on this, because I grew up in the US, but I was born here in the Philippines. I lived in the US for 10 years and I came back here. So, my parents, they're mad immigrants. So, yeah. So I have a very unique perspective on this, because I can see both sides of, the line. But anyway, we're gonna finish watching this and then I'll put in my own opinions on it.
Teach us thoroughly to raise us as Filipino American children rather than just American children. Whose job was it? I'll wait. Tell me right now. Quickly, hurry up. Come on. Oh, right. One of you. So don't go blaming us for our ignorance towards our own culture, for our lack of knowledge. We're trying to learn now. I can see it. A lot of us are trying to learn the language. A lot of us are trying to learn the culture. But don't put it on us for not knowing in the first place. Because first of all, that was one of you guys' job, okay? That was
Whose job?
the job of someone who was born and raised in the Philippines to teach their children about the culture. I'm sorry to say this, it may sound like a bitchy, self-hating thing, but Filipino immigrants to America are among the worst at spreading their culture to the younger generations. That is not our fault. We didn't tell them to not teach us the second we popped out of the womb. It was y'all's job to teach us, and you failed. You withheld that information from us, and that's why we are like this. I rest my case. Bottom line, we can still talk about how Filipinos in America have failed our ancestors, but we also need to include into that conversation how much older generation Filipinos who immigrated have also failed us.
Okay, so essentially he's saying that, well, I think he might be talking about his parents here, that his parents didn't teach him Filipino culture enough, because maybe the parents were scared that they would lose, that, they would be discriminated against, like he said, if the parents taught him too much Filipino culture. I mean, in the general sense, that's the general gist of what he's trying to say. So what I'm gonna say to that is, in a general sense, even though, you know, you can learn a lot about like Filipino culture, at the end of the day, like if you lived in America, you're gonna be living as your American identity, not as your Filipino identity, because that's where you live. That's what you've known. Now, your parents could live a Filipino lifestyle because they know what it was like to live in the Philippines, but you only lived in America and you never lived in the Philippines. So you don't really know what it's like. You're just American. In that case, as far as like whose responsibility it is to, you know, learn about the culture, obviously your parents do have some responsibility in like making you learn Filipino and whatnot, Filipino culture in general, but you know, it's still on you to some extent. And I mean, I guess if you were a kid, then I would understand, you know, if you don't know where to look or what information to look. But if you're an adult, or at least you're in conversations about like the general Asian diaspora, then you should be aware of, you know, general Filipino culture, at least like just a little bit. So I think this post is a little too blamey, and you're right, it is bitchy. That's right, it is pretty bitchy. That's okay. At least he's self-aware, so I'm gonna give it that to him. Now my perspective on this, very interesting, because like I said, I lived in the US for 10 years. I was born here. I came back, and now I've been living here ever since. So the story is, yeah, my mom first immigrated here. Here in Philippines. Sorry. My mom first immigrated to the US back in 2007. They've been immigrants since long before that, but in the US they started in 2007 all the way to 2017. So no, actually my mom started in 2006. 2006, and then we came to the US in 2007. Yeah, that's the story. So 2007, that's when I first started living in the US. And then it stretched on for 10 years, all the way to early 2017, which was when I came here, and I've been living here ever since. Now, my parents and my one sister, they came back to the US a year after because they reapplied for a visa and they all got approved, except for me. Long story short, like the condition for the visa, for my visa at least, was, you know, I have to be dependent from them to get a visa. But the conditions for that was I had to be older than 21. Sorry, I had to be younger than 21 for me to have a visa that was dependent on them. But when they reapplied, I was already over 21, so they couldn't put me on that dependency list anymore. So that's why I've been stuck here and there over there in the US. Anyway, that's fun. How did I feel about that? I mean, I wasn't really sad, to be honest. Not because of like, you know, like not having them, you know, ask me about my day. You know, I like being asked about my day, and it's not because it's overbearing. I don't know. It's just I like, at least for my adult and childhood life, I've never lived in any place for longer than 5 years, which is crazy. Because I moved around a lot, and I never stayed in a place for longer than 5 years. And this is the first time in my adult life, or plus childhood life, that I've stayed in a place for longer than 5 years. So I lived in Bahrain, I lived in the US Virgin Islands. Trust me, I am not lying to you. Bahrain, US Virgin Islands, Arkansas, and then here, Manila. That's facts. I've lived in like the most random places on the map. I did it. That's crazy, but it did happen. So this is like the first time that I've actually lived in one place for over 5 years. Like in just, I mean, relative vicinity, I mean, I lived in my cousin for a year, but I lived in Manila 6 years at this point, and yeah, I'm okay with that. Anyway, that's the story. So that's how I know I kind of got off track, but essentially I just said that because I understand his point of view, but I also understand the point of view of someone who has assimilated with Filipino culture here and also knows how to speak Tagalog. Now, obviously, at this point, I can speak English much better than I can speak Tagalog, obviously, because I lived there longer, and in general, I just use English more, although I can talk in Tagalog proficiently enough. As weird as that sounds. I mean, no, I'm actually completely bilingual. So, yeah. Regarding what he said about racism, I think that's my biggest problem with what he said about the racism part. I mean, it's weird to be like the way he said it is like it would make like rephrase. I'm sorry. I'm using so much likes. I'm like I'm talking like a fucking valley girl. But what I am gonna say about his statement is I mean, even if you're gonna face discrimination and racism, you shouldn't be afraid to explore your culture and you know where your parents came from, because that's gonna be a part of who you are. And to say that you didn't want to learn it, like your parents didn't teach you that to not have you be discriminated against, it's a whack talking point. I'm just gonna be honest, it's a whack talking point, because like I said, you're living as an American. It's just that while your Filipino identity is a salient part of who you are, it's like when you're living in the US, you're living as an American and you're assimilating into their culture. Now, unless it depends how much Filipino culture you have in your house, but I mean, as you said, there isn't really a whole lot for any Filipino culture for you to catch into your psyche. No, you're completely American. You don't speak Tagalog. Your parents probably don't even cook Filipino food in your house. What Filipino culture is there for people to discriminate against you with? Nothing. So I don't understand that point. Yeah. Anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about. I'm done with this stream.